the entertainment highlight of the week.
Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good day.
Good evening.
Good night.
Oh my God, goodness.
Goodness.
Oh.
I'm on a winning streak here. That was the Loch Ness game. It's not a game and it's not about Loch Ness.
When you said good night, all I could think of when you said it for some reason, I was thinking of night as in like knights in shining
I know,
armor.
I was thinking that and I thought, I bet that's what he's thinking. Basically, yes, I found your Achilles heel, your obsession with medieval history.
Damn, he's got me, he's blasted. Anyway, this is the Benji and Nick Show. We are a cult television podcast where we talk about shows from the past, things you might remember, things you might want to forget, you know.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to forget that.
And this week we are doing Planet of the Daleks Episode 3, a commentary, and we will be joined by Jamie Anderson, son of Jerry Anderson, and he'll be joining us for his verdict on Planet of the Daleks.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say his commentary. He's just doing it completely separately and nothing to do with ours. You just hear him in the background going, yeah, so far it's quite interesting, the jungle. So, we're going, yeah, Jamie, he can't hear us. He's
gone insane. He's gone insane.
Anyway, I'm not Benji.
And I'm not Nick.
I'm
not
in a
Need.
moment. Are you not Need?
No, I'm not Need.
I might be. In a moment, your emails sent to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com, but I feel that it does fall to me to read this out, which is, the Benji and Nick Show is proud to be sponsored by The Village Shop, the online e-store run by the Unmutual website and Coit Media. Coit is spelled Quoit. Isn't that interesting? It's your one-stop shop for all things Prisoner, Danger Man and Patrick McGoohan, including DVDs, Blu-rays, books, CDs, audio dramas, clothing, photos, homeware and gifts. New items are added weekly. Benji and Nick Show listeners, that's you who are listening now, you can enjoy a 10% discount on all purchases by using the code LOCHNESS10. That's LOCHNESS, all in block capitals, 10. All joined together, no spaces, no underlines, no fancy nonsense. None of your fancy nonsense. And use that at the checkout. A further donation will also be made to Hope House Children's Hospice at no cost to you. The address of the Village Shop is slightly confusingly www.theprisonershop, all one word, .co.uk. Right, let's have a look and recommend something from here. Are you looking, Benji?
There's a great there's a used section where people sell various artifacts, and there's always interesting stuff in there. I'm looking at the moment at a Dr. Sin original 1960s cinema movie poster on there, which is quite cool. With you get the chance to have a huge photo of Patrick McGoohan there on the front of that, alias the Scarecrow.
Actually, I don't know about that.
It's one to look out. It's gorgeous.
Well, I do now. You've told me.
It's a gorgeous poster. You can also get loads of other good things. I mean, I'm looking in the DVD section at the moment, and you can get the armchair theatre stuff. That's a real throwback, isn't it?
Wow.
So you can get Volume 4 and Volume 3 on here.
Nice. Oh, by the way, there's an additional offer, which we mentioned last time. If you use the code Eye of Time, EYEOFTIME, all one word, capital letters. Use that at the checkout. You can get 40% off 50 Years of The Prisoner. It's a DVD of the Elstree Studios event featuring interviews with director Alex Cox, John Huff and Chris Rodley, series crew members John S. Smith, Tony Sloman and Ian Rakoff, and a devilishly handsome chap called Nicholas Briggs, it says here, plus others. Right. Also, I'd like to mention you might like to have a look at the nicholasbriggs.com site, because every time I moan and beg people to go and buy something there, someone does. So please, for goodness sake, for pity's sake, go to nicholasbriggs.com and see if there's anything you fancy buying there. We won't bother having a look, but there's photographs, there's my book, The Dalek Generation, which I will sign for you. I've just signed a couple today. So, when I say a couple, I don't mean a couple of people. They're a nice couple. Let me sign them.
Nice couple, that.
But now your emails. I think I'll read this one because then that assigns me the the very long one at the end. This is called Footnotes to the Coronation Street Plans, The Magic Faraway Tree and Lizzie. Lizzie Dripping, which we discussed 2 podcasts ago. This was sent on the 21st of April in the year 2312. And it's from Mark N. Perkins. He says, "Good evening, podsters. I was pleased that Benji is trying to complete his modelling of Coronation Street, but need to check on one detail for the sake of propriety and decency. When the original outdoor set of Coronation Street was built, there was no gap between the Rovers and number 1 Coronation Street. Viewers later pointed out that anyone going to the gents' toilet in the Rovers would end up in Albert Tatlock's kitchen."
Can you imagine that?
That just
Poor old Albert.
Any sentence with the name Albert Tatlock in always just amuses me. Albert Tatlock. Do you remember Albert Tatlock?
Albert Tatlock, yeah.
Oh, I just had a really flabby mouth.
I wasn't sure if that was to do with him when he got older or not, but that's when I because I've been watching it since the late 1970s. Not since then. I mean, I've been catching up on it all.
Yes.
And he was sort of like that then.
That's right.
Kenneth.
I think he probably always spoke like that, even when he was against that. "Mummy, can I go to the toilet?" When they built the new set, a passageway was put in between the 2 buildings to save Albert's blushes.
I have. Now, I've included the passageway in there. Mine is like a mishmash of different designs. It's not fully. Mainly the.
It's iconic rather than faithful, is that what you're saying?
It's pretty damn faithful. I mean, I've used the floor plans from about the 80s, when they basically the old sets before they built this brand new one at Media City. I've built most of it now. I've done the all of the houses. I've just reached the shop. And now
He's been round the houses.
I've been round the houses. They've all got stairs in them and rooms upstairs, and and then I'm probably going to rip it all down and rebuild it better because that's what I want to do
in Minecraft. Something else.
Second Life, actually. How sad is that?
Of course. Yes.
How sad is that?
You live online.
I am.
One day I'll have a conversation with you on Zoom and find that you're actually just a simulation
inside the box. Don't exist.
It exists. The magic faraway tree was something you mentioned last time, wasn't it, Benji? It says, and so Mark goes on to say, and in the magic faraway tree, Enid Blyton has characters called Fanny and Dick. For reasons that were never explained, the latest reprint of the book had changed them to Franny and Rick. Bizarre. Yes, I can't think why they changed those names.
I can't believe as a little young lad that I would have been reading that and saying things like, "Oh, I hope Fanny and Dick get out of that one." I mean, goodness, I've never really thought about that.
Have you seen that picture of Fanny?
Yeah, exactly.
Dick's looking quite... Anyway.
Dick's very attached to Fanny.
As to Lizzie Dripping, which was a 1973 kids' TV programme that Benji quite liked and I hated at the time and couldn't get over my hatred from the time about, which is a shame because the leading actress, whose name escapes me, ended up being a Blue Peter presenter. It was very good and it was very high production values and, yeah...
We had a cup of tea.
Yeah, and there was a lot of talk about the sexism of thinking, well, it's a girls' programme, and it's interesting when you can't get over these terrible prejudices. I will submit myself to the right thinking programme. As to Lizzie Dripping, I remember a playground chant: "Lizzie Dripping, don't look now, your lies are slipping." There you go.
Lizzie Dripping, don't look now, your lies are slipping.
So it's because we found out that Lizzie Dripping was just a Nottinghamshire bit of slang. It's a slang name for someone who made stuff up, basically, because the lead character in Lizzie Dripping is in fact called Penelope. Yes.
And of course everybody else in the country would have just been completely confused.
Yeah, why is it called Lizzie Dripping, they'd say. Or something similar, says Mark. He's not quite sure that is the rhyme. He may have just made them up, which might explain it more. Keep up the podding, not the pudding. Mark, friend of Fenella Perkins. Yes, we must remember that Mark had a voicemail recorded by Fenella Fielding as a prize, I think it was, on a radio competition. And she,
damn good prize.
Yeah, she did her blue cat voice from Dougal and the Blue Cat. P.S. Loved Grandma's house. What's that? Do we mention that?
No, I can't remember. Grandma's
This email was sent from my Samsung Faraway Galaxy smartish phone. Haha.
Must have mentioned it, yeah. Or maybe it was Jamie mentioned it, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah.
I never listened to him.
Well, we got a message here from Michael Herbert, sent on 27th of the 4th, 2020, in the year of our Lord, 1541.
What happened in 1441, I wonder?
For nothing. 1541.
1541. Wow. It was a common year starting on a Saturday. Wow. Amazing. There's also a computer called the Commodore 1541, but anyway. The Battle of Sahat.
It's amazing all these things that go on that you don't think about, you know.
Yeah. The Janissaries of Suleiman the Magnificent take Buddha by ruse, hiding themselves as visitors on August the 29th, that was.
I'd like to be known as the something magnificent.
Yeah.
Benji the Magnificent.
Gerardus Mercator makes his first globe. The first official translation of the entire Bible into Swedish is made.
Blimey.
Write that down, everyone. Well, I'm overwhelmed. Anyway, sorry, what's in the email, mate?
Interesting. Sorry, I'm just reading all about the history now. There we go. Yeah, so the email here says, subject is a couple of suggestions.
Oh, yes.
Dear Nick and Benji, I'm enjoying your entertaining rambles over the moorland of the past of television news. The owl's back. I would like to suggest... the blizzard sound from BBC sound effects. I'd like to suggest looking at A for Andromeda and Doomwatch. This is an interview with Kit Pedler and Jerry Davis from 1973 I came across, which I put on my science fiction blog, Fantasies of Possibility. And he's dropped a link down there. I'm looking forward to reading that one later. We'll put that on the Twitter if I remember.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Try to remember to do that. I'm just going to have a quick look and see if we can quote something from To the Great Men. What's that?
It says here, I agree about Edge of Darkness, possibly the best TV drama of the last 40 years. Yours sincerely, Michael Herbert, editor, Fantasies of Possibility, science fiction blog. Check it out. You can find it on WordPress. My friend is actually watching Edge of Darkness today. Because we've been exchanging goods through this lockdown, leaving things on each other's doorsteps. So he comes to my doorstep, picks up things, and then drops something off. And then we go through the lengthy process of disinfecting everything. I had to disinfect the Survivors box sets yesterday, which is just, there's an irony there, isn't there? But I left him Edge of Darkness, and he messaged me today to say he's watching it. So I'm very excited for his journey into cult TV history.
Kit says that the best title for an ecological documentary was Due to Lack of Interest, Tomorrow has been cancelled. As evidence of his concern, he points out that the documentary was shown on BBC Two to a small converted audience, which is why he was pleased to work with Jerry Davis on Doomwatch. Interesting. Doomwatch, have you ever seen Doomwatch?
I'm not really, the thing is, I know Doomwatch, but I can't say I've actually ever really sat down and watched Doomwatch. But it's iconic, isn't it?
Well, it is, but although someone, they'll remain nameless, even though I might have quoted this before and named them, but I'm feeling like I'm being responsible today, said to me, some people subscribe to all sorts of nonsense, like the idea that Doomwatch was actually any good. So it's kind of got this status because of what it set out to achieve, but it's so dated to watch, but it's fascinating. Everyone knows that I like to watch dated television with all the wrong values and assumptions in it. It's quite fun, but it's worth a watch. I would recommend it.
I may just do that. We'll do it for a podcast.
Yeah, it's a question of finding the right episode, though.
BBC Enterprises released 2 VHS tapes of the Plastic Eaters and Tomorrow the Rat.
Yes. The sexism is just overwhelming.
It's the past, isn't it, though?
It's because it's an adult series, you see, so they just pile it on a bit more. A for Andromeda, the original. I've not seen the original. There was a remake done in like the 90s. Did you know that?
I only know really. I know the old one exists, but I can only really think when I think about it. I can only think of the remake.
Oh right, I might rewatch that at some point. I've got the DVD somewhere. It stars the guy who went on to be a movie star, doesn't it?
Let me have a look on the IMDb.
Oh God, you don't know who I mean, do you? And I can't think of his name.
Tom Hardy.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Legend. Yeah. National treasure, Tom Hardy, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
And Jane Asher as well.
Well, she was in the original. Was she in the remake as well?
She's in this one as well, yeah.
Playing a different character. Yeah, she was the second A for Andromeda. Was she the first or second? There was her and... No, I can't remember the original actress who was in A for Andromeda. Julie Christie was the original and Jane Asher took over from her. I think that's what happened.
Makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Judy Christie. Just mentions Judy Christie. Susan Hampshire was the
well
recast.
Well done.
So it wasn't Jane Asher. Well, that was a load of internet searching, and luckily I did some editing there, folks.
We got there in the end.
Yes, and not that anyone was interested, sort of including myself. Right, here's the third and final email. Subject: Doctor Who and the Hells Angels and the Planet of the Daleks, Episode 3. This is sent on the 28th of April in the year 1214. I want a full report on the year 1214, please, Benji. It's from David James. Dear chaps, in advance of your upcoming commentary of Planet of the Daleks, upcoming in a few minutes, Episode 3, I thought you'd be interested to know its supporting role in an inadvertent 1970s comedy classic, namely a BBC documentary about an unofficial London branch of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. It's an absolutely extraordinary piece of work and can easily be found on YouTube by searching for BBC Hells Angels. The filmmaker Adam Curtis wrote a BBC blog post about it a few years ago. I was going to say weeks and years at the same time, which was going to come out as yeeks. This is what he has to say about it. I've just found a wonderful, very funny documentary made in 1973 about a group of British Hells Angels. It's about their daily life and culminates in them going on a weekend mini break on a derelict barge in the pouring rain near Aylesbury. They're obviously not very nice people, especially as they tend to go on about Nazis, and the film has a disapproving commentary that talks about their psychotic tendencies and their empty daily existence. But as you watch the film, you begin to realise that the director, or possibly the editor, was making a completely different film. It uses the Hells Angels as a comic and exaggerated parody of the emptiness of the daily life for everyone in Britain. The film is full of wonderful moments. The lead character, Mad John, goes round to see his wife but completely ignores her because he finds a letter to him from the fountainhead of Angeldom, the California Angels chapter. His wife stomps off, leaving Mad John with his suitcase of memorabilia. Inside the suitcase is a magazine called Big Chopper, and a real chopper. He sits with his only friend, his Alsatian dog called Hitler.
Oh my God, of course he does.
And the Hells Angels holiday ends with all of them sitting together on the barge in the rain, watching Doctor Who on television, drinking cans of lager. And, says David James, who sent this email, and sure enough, at 20 1/3 minutes through the copy on YouTube, and I did check this, a familiar title sequence appears on their tiny black and white battery-powered telly, and the dialogue then clearly identifies it as the episode as Planet of the Daleks, Episode 3.
No!
Yeah, thought you both, and Benji in particular, might be interested. Thank you for your efforts in keeping us sane right now. Best wishes, David James. David, that is such a classy email. I love it. Thank you so much for letting us. I checked it, and you're absolutely right. Isn't that incredible?
Do you know how many minutes in it is?
He says 20 1/3 minutes.
20 1/3 minutes.
This is now the sound of Benji Clifford checking this.
Oh yeah, look at that! Goodness, yeah,
incredible, isn't it?
Oh, there's John Pertwee's face there. I love the old CRT monitor there. Brilliant. Look at that, on a boat as well. With a
I know. A derelict
cans
barge.
of lager and a cup of a sandwich or something.
Good cup of sandwich?
A little sandwich. Cup of sandwich.
Would you like a cup of sandwich?
Cup of sandwich. That's
I'm afraid there's tea in
there
as well, so it's slightly soggy.
I'm going to have to watch this. It looks very interesting. I like stuff like that. I wonder if any of them are not only, obviously, if any are alive, but also if any of them are still in the Hells Angels. That would be interesting.
What you haven't seen, at the end of the film, they're so appalled by Planet of the Daleks, Episode 3, that they all jump in the canal and die.
And drown themselves. Yeah, I mean...
That doesn't happen, listeners. Shall we summon Jamie Andrews? Who's Jamie Andrews? Jamie Anderson to the
that's a good idea. But just quickly, my report on 1214 has brought up a few interesting things.
Only a few.
John, King of England, landed an invasion force at La Rochelle, France.
Oh, thank God.
It was a big year for John, because John pops up later on, signing the Treaty of Chinon with Prince Philip II of France.
Good Lord!
Yeah,
write this down.
Isn't it? Write this down. Right. Okay. So I'll invite Jamie in.
Got that down.
Jamie Andrews.
Jamie Andrews. Yeah, don't invite Jamie Andrews because I won't know who he is.
My name's Jamie Andrews, and I'm here at BBC.
Who's Jamie Andrews?
Yeah, for quite.
Right, you've invited him, have you?
Yeah, I've sent the invite. Just awaiting its arrival. Should be there.
Had some great chocolate brownies for lunch.
Yes, we've got loads of chocolate. My sister made loads of chocolate brownies. They're marvellous, aren't they?
Well, guess who sent them? As my friend Shelley from America. She found she found a bakery in Dorset.
Oh, bless her. Hello, Jamie.
Yeah. Hello, Jamie.
I've brought popcorn.
Ooh. Gosh, I want popcorn.
I've got popcorn downstairs, but I can't be bothered to go down and get popcorn, really.
So, what we're going to do, 3, 2, 1, and on the 1 we press play. 3, 2, press 1.
Did it.
Working?
Here we are then.
So, Jamie, you're our guest commentator. I want you to lead this commentary.
That's probably a bad idea, I suspect.
When did you first see this?
Wow, 1992, maybe, on VHS.
Right, and it was in black and white on the VHS, this episode, was it? Because this is...
Yeah, I'm sure.
This is the episode that...
I had two... Did they do a VHS release that was all with the black and white episode, or did they release it just when they did the colorization? I can't remember. I'm sure I had the colour version.
I remember seeing it on UK Gold, and I've got a tape somewhere with this in black and white. But I don't remember there being a commercial release of it for some reason. I'm sure there would have been. Yes, I do. It was a green cover, but I don't think it was in. They colorised it by that point.
No, they hadn't. They only colorised it by the time they released the DVD, I think.
Because this was a clever one, wasn't it? Because they used microdots to bring the colours out.
Music a little bit like the Dalek movie here.
Yes. It's Katie there talking to a flying turd.
Well, it really is, isn't it?
Oh, now I want to hold my nose.
No, you can't unsee it. Dear, oh dear.
Dear me. Yeah. Gosh, of course I saw this in 1973. It's interesting watching it because it's a conversion from a film copy. It does have a different feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, different quality.
The sound is different as well.
I think it actually looks somewhat, obviously because it was on film, but even though this section here was recorded in studio, it does actually the film quality lends itself quite well, I think.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think you said it a bit better than me.
Well,
Jamie, could you say that now, but in a slightly different way?
Yes.
Well, you said it has a different quality. I'm merely saying that it has a good different quality.
Yeah, no, I think you qualified it beautifully. It's the flying turd.
The waggling turd.
Waggling turd gun.
I love the whispering they do there.
Yes. That is Roy Skelton. Right, so they're building up to the big Dalek battle here with the Doctor using a cassette tape.
Oh, is it me or is the colour of the Doctor's outfit more punchy in this?
100%, yes.
It's really
especially his undershirt.
Yeah.
I think his hair's looking particularly good, I think, don't you?
Well, I'm very jealous of it, that's for sure.
Well, me too. I love Jon Pertwee's hair.
It's a great bouffant. I'd tell you one thing I particularly love. I think it's coming up later on in this episode when they're both sitting next to each other. The Dalek comes in and Jon Pertwee stops him from standing up in a sort of slightly comedic, slightly Wurzel Gummidge-like way.
Oh, really? I find that really... Oh,
he's very stern, but it's only because I've seen him do that in Wurzel Gummidge before.
I wonder what that stuff really is.
KY jelly, I suspect.
Do you think? They've coloured it slightly, haven't they?
But a bit of Swarthega in it, I should imagine.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your expert opinion there.
Yes, well, that's what they did on Terrorhawks, you see, although it was a bit later. I think it was a well-trodden route to creating
Squelchy
green
path.
slime. Yes.
Nice. It's such a crazy idea, isn't it? It's an isotope of ice. Is that what he says? An isotope? Did he say isotope?
An ice isotope.
Ice isotope.
An isotonic ice isotope.
The idea of ice not actually solidifying on Spyridon. That's Hilary Minster there, that actor. A lot of my friends worked with him and called him Squirrely Funster.
Any
reason why?
He was a bit of a lad, was Hilary, I think. And obviously, who's the director of this episode?
I can't
David
remember.
Maloney.
Oh, God.
He turns up in David Maloney Productions, does Squirrely Funster. He's also in Genesis of the Daleks, playing a Thal as well.
Perhaps it's the same Thal and he just lives forever.
Well, he's the one who says, "Come on back here, come on." It's that one, you know, when Sarah's on top of the Thal dome.
Bit of a downgraded role, really, isn't it?
Well, he got more lines, I think, as in Genesis.
Did he really?
More significant. I mean, what's the name of the character he plays here?
I can't remember.
He's got "I'm going to be killed" tattooed to his forehead, though, hasn't he?
Got a red
That's
shirt
the problem.
on.
You know straight away because he's got the character has no importance or substance at all.
Exactly.
We're just going to put these things in the bin.
Great recycling program on this planet.
They really go for it.
She was hiding behind that. I mean, they're not only invisible, they're blind, aren't they?
And stupid.
Yes. And I just put some more of. They're just covering her in those turds, basically.
I love all these bits of music here.
Oh, the old laundry basket trick.
If you walked in and you didn't like Doctor Who and you saw that, you'd think it was utterly absurd.
Would you?
Now, these ice caves look really good, and I wonder if had this transfer not been had this been the tape version, so to speak,
this is on film anyway.
Oh, is this on film anyway?
Yeah, they filmed this at Ealing, I think. Yeah, it's definitely film. Yeah,
it looks good though,
and they do good shivering acting, don't they? You really believe. I get quite cold watching this.
Yeah, although when she picked up the slime, she picked it up and went, "Oh, it's really cold," but no reaction to it. So I think at this point, whenever they did this, somebody must have remembered they were supposed to be cold.
Yes.
Heating units. I wish things in real life were called much more complicated things. Instead of turn the heater on, could you switch the heating units to maximum? Sounds so much better, doesn't it? Really.
Yes. I've been playing around with the script I'm writing at the moment where an alien in disguise comes into someone's house posing as a sort of utilities person, and they say, I've come to inspect your electrical power supply. And kind of gives themselves away almost immediately.
Straight away.
Look at that, and a little bit of wind machine effect to make them look colder. It's excellent, isn't it?
Back in Television Centre. Look at those stone walls. Are they meant to be stone? I've never noticed that they're meant to be stone.
Yes, they've made the base out of the rock, you see.
That's fascinating. I've never acknowledged that before.
He's never going to see you. He's looking up high.
They've peeled a sticker off that laundry bin as well. I wonder what that said.
Tesco.
Probably.
Laundry, probably.
They must have got it from the supermarket or something and just peeled it off and not bothered to clean it.
I think I said this last time, but they've also, if you look on the wall, there's a fire alarm that they've covered to make it look like the temperature clock, but it is the fire alarm in every school ever.
Except the one they nicked that one from.
Yeah. Which sadly
his
is
hair's
now
looking amazing.
in
I've got
flames.
real hair envy for John Pertwee. It's astounding hair. I mean, look, he's got "I'm going to be killed" written on him because he's so slow moving, isn't he? They've sent the stupid Dalek down.
Thinking we'll get rid of
This is your favourite bit, Benji.
That face.
The Doctor means business there, doesn't he? Yes.
Yeah. When did he do that in Wurzel Gummidge?
I think it was he was having a sulk and sat down in a funny way or something like that. Something similar.
Oh.
Now, of course, this is so similar to the scene in the Daleks, the original one, isn't it? Pertwee nearly had the top off the Dalek there.
This is why they stopped making cassette tapes, because it caused terrible accidents when you put it on people's heads. I love the way it whacks into the wall and then just gets motionless.
Yeah.
Very wonky neck rings on this, though.
They're battered old things, aren't they?
They're already in a terrible state.
Yeah.
I'd like to live in an alternative universe where for every Dalek story they made a new set of props.
Mm.
And they're all in some warehouse somewhere.
They do that on the new series. The Daleks, I mean, they make them look all right, but my God, they creak like old ships as they move along. So all the actors all the other actors in Dalek scenes, I'm the only actor in the Dalek scene who has his voice from the actual filming session used, because everyone else has to post-sync their voices, because every time they open their mouths, the Daleks are going...
Oh, dear. They get battered. The problem is there's just such an impractical shape. I mean, I remember when I used to have a Dalek, it was just a nightmare.
Look, that one's looking right at her and doesn't notice.
Because he's asleep.
Slow blink.
They should have dubbed on...
There's no...
He's narcoleptic.
I'm assuming there's nobody in that one, right? Oh,
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a goon. I'm looking too high.
Is there a fire? Look at the slats are all wonky.
Yeah.
This is where the Dalek movies win out, because they had time to refilm and choreograph the Dalek movements, and it's all a lot more precise, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's great stuff, isn't it? We'll get hit by that polystyrene and Swarfiga.
I love all these sets as well. Definitely one of my favourite Dalek cities. I heard something.
What was that?
There's nothing. Carry on.
Nice. Sneaky silhouetting. See,
it's like the danger music.
It hadn't seen them.
No.
It only turned round because he went back.
That was... there's a scene almost exactly the same as that in Genesis, where they go round a corridor and a Dalek is sort of looking the other way and suddenly sees them.
Got him trying to
David
operate
Maloney
that
does that a lot. He repeats setups in different Daleks and different stories that he directs on Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But I guess it works, so why not?
Well, there's a scene, the scene in the War Games where they're being shelled right at the beginning of episode 1.
Yeah.
Well, when the Doctor, Sarah and Harry are shelled at the beginning of Genesis of the Daleks, it's almost exactly the same sequence of shots.
I've never thought about that.
It is, with Sarah holding her head and screaming at the sound, and the same with Zoe doing it in the War Games. It's the same.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, exactly. And he thought, was years later, and who's ever going to watch this on some... Oh, no, that's the bit. Sorry. That's the bit that's the same as Genesis.
Lovely noise.
I love these noises so much. Bring them back. I'll have to be operating it by remote
control. If they're operating
control.
it by remote control, why can't they just stop it and open the door? I'm just asking for a friend.
I want to be the person that's flicking the thing in the background to make the lift look like it's moving.
That is just someone literally wafting a bit of black... What do they call it?
Felt or something.
No, there's a particular term. Oh, but no. I will stain your wall. Look at that. Later in the story, when they get in this lift, that stain's still there.
Is it?
It is.
Good spot.
And that would have been several weeks later. I wonder whether they repainted it, because these sets would be demolished and put back together every week, wouldn't they?
I love the hollow set noises as he punches that button in inverted commas. There's a lot of these sets, though, and including their kind of computer consoles and stuff, where clearly they are not designed for use by a Dalek. Everything's just awkward, tiny, fiddly switches, which would be impossible to use with those blooming plungers.
Yes.
Sorry, set designers. I know they probably had no time and no money, but still. Oh.
Well, a lot of that gear as well, ends up in other programs, doesn't it? That's the thing. It's just obviously gear that they get out of a cupboard and say, "Oh, that'll do."
Oh, this must have been nice to crawl through.
Yes. At least it probably wasn't at all cold.
Wow, do you want to be crawling through a warm kind of industrial mucus?
No. Get the industrial mucus. This is all on film, of course. You know the reason why it's on film.
To make it match, presumably.
No, because a Dalek will come along here later and all the gunk will be disgorged over it. Yes.
Of course.
You can't
Look at his hair
messy
there. His hair looks very sharp from the side.
Yeah. This is the John Pertwee Hair Podcast. I love that sound effect.
Lovely.
I'll just look over here so Joe can get past. I love
great
the Dalek
voices
in this.
Yeah. So very, very close on the microphone, aren't they?
Yes, they're really up there.
Pressed up against it.
Yes, there's a lot of mic distortion, isn't there, in the voice in
Which
this.
works, I think. It works in its favour.
I wish we were noting all the Terry Nation signature moments, the door that's closing that you have to force open. Again, this is all from the Daleks. It was the lift door in the Daleks.
It is pretty much identical, isn't it, in terms of all the tropes? I mean, it really is.
Reassuring.
All the going away and coming back again.
Comfortingly similar.
Yeah. It's not called Terry Nation's Greatest Hits for nothing. Look, and the Shadow of a Dalek.
Shadow of the Dalek.
Another thing David Maloney likes to do. I love the way that Dalek pauses long enough for them to, well, just wait here until they've gone.
Sludge.
Amazing.
That's a serious amount of gunk, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it wasn't KY jelly. Not on that scale. Can you imagine how many tubes you'd have to buy?
Probably just water there.
Wallpaper paste, I think.
Yeah.
Possibly.
That and President. Is that those buttons? Are they sort of? They're a specific thing, aren't they? Someone told me. Was it you?
What,
that control board?
A specific device.
Yeah, it's actually they just took it and put it on a control panel. I'll just stay here. My contract's expired. I'm only in this episode. I'll just use my rubbish gun badly. No, it's never going to work.
Of course, the inverted colours of the Dalek gun look a lot better on this because it's obviously been colorised. It's more blue.
Yes.
Colorised.
There might be a small pyrotechnic. How did they get that off him?
Yeah.
The Dalek holding it's not interested. He's just looking off.
He's thinking about other stuff.
The shocking state of the paint on that.
That is
that eye
terrible.
stop.
But when he's holding that map, he can't see it himself. So he's got to hold it up and say, "Can you see what this says?"
It's a
I'm
receipt
too busy
for
looking the other way.
I mean, the thing is as well is that, look at that. I mean, look at the mess these props are in. It's just unbelievable how they let them get to that state. And they don't even operate particularly very well. Their domes are shaking around.
God, we're just appalled. I love it. They're looking for an escape and there's a blooming great hole above them and it's just there the whole time. They're going, I can't see a way out of this place at all.
Massive with big markings on.
What are those?
Oh, it looks like the back of someone's fridge.
It's not big enough to freeze an ocean, is it really? You've seen
Over
how
to
big
our
oceans
science
are.
correspondent, Benji Clifford. It's not.
I think you'll find it needs to be a Mark II if you wish to freeze an ocean.
Wow.
It's a fun idea, though, isn't it?
Well, it is
That's
a
it
fun
then.
idea.
I'm the doodle man.
How's it going for you, Jamie?
Oh, I'm quite enjoying it. Sorry, I'm snacking on my popcorn and sort of getting into it. I love. Sorry, I was going to say I love any sci-fi thing where they have to burn through a door because I love looking at the different ways they try and do the effect, whether it's melting polystyrene or pre-cutting wood or actually burning it. It's very exciting.
He was melting the polystyrene there, wasn't he?
It's a bit of a step back from the Daleks when their phallic way in which they break down the door with that massive spark machine.
Yeah.
Which looks like something else.
That's polystyrene, isn't it?
Definitely.
I think so.
And they're doing that on the set, or was that a cutaway to an effects shot?
I think that might have been cutaway, but
Yeah.
oh look, there he is with his map.
Oh, I found.
I drew this earlier.
Yeah. Nice drawing.
Is he going to put it down?
It's a postcard from Spyridon.
Wish you were here.
They're just nipping to the post office.
Nice bit of shadow of the Dalek there. Shadow of the Daleks.
I love how battered everything is, though. Like, look at that.
The edge
Even
of
that unit there is looking. It looks cruddy and beat up.
Yeah. That shot there suggests someone's going to grab her from behind, doesn't it? But nothing happens.
Nothing at all.
Wrong door.
We're building up, of course, to the shot of a load of Daleks, aren't we? A load of toy Daleks.
Oh.
What does he think they're doing if
Yes,
they're not
that's
going to
exactly
float?
what I was about to say.
We're just going to wrap ourselves in polythene, and Daleks can't see through polythene. Don't bother looking there. It's just polythene. That sounds like a factoid in I love the way that's done. In the old Dalek annuals, doesn't it? Daleks can't see through polythene, so if you simply smother yourself with a plastic bag, children.
Wow. Nice bit of science there with hot air rises.
Yeah.
That's what
Now, do we
Doctor's
think
for.
that's a proper light, or do we think it's just a torch?
We are going to quickly find something. But, yeah, go a bit faster.
Come on. No haste.
Daleks never look round when Joe Grant's about.
She must be making quite a bit of a racket as well, you know.
Like these guys, yeah.
Yeah. Turn it up, yes, turn it up.
Oh, it's going quite quick
How
now,
did they
that door.
reach the... Yeah, how did they reach the top?
Maybe it extends
Yeah, well, it would have to, wouldn't it?
and bends and does everything. Little cupboard.
Just look, why is that there? Did the Daleks ever use that with the little handles? I can't open this hatchway. Who put this hatchway in here?
Look at the little toys.
The dreadful toys.
I
that
was
are just,
very dismayed that they were the wrong shape. I had
Yeah.
toys like that.
When I was growing up, a friend of mine had one of those toys, and it would have been one of the originals. I was because he didn't care, but I thought it was very interesting.
Not only are they the wrong shape, they don't have slats on. You thought they would have at least put slats on them.
Nah, I don't care. 70s, isn't it?
Doctor Who John Pertwee.
Goodness me.
That credit's up for a very Joe Grant, Katie Manning, and they're up for ages. These credits, aren't they? I love it.
Wouldn't get
And then
that
they just
today.
get quicker when it gets to Prentice Hancock. Forget it.
Yeah. Nobody cares now. Rattle them off.
Then
It didn't say worst actor in Christendom under Prentice Hancock.
You're so cruel.
I am. He's a regular listener who'll be writing in.
I'll send the link to him, yeah.
Yeah.
well, there we have
A
it.
Facebook friend request. Anyway.
Did he?
Yes, there we are. Yeah, he
Facebook
did.
enemy request. Well, that was very
Brilliant.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought that was very good. The thing is, it's just so lovely watching that. It just makes me happy.
Yeah.
I never watch it and think, this is rubbish.
I could just carry on. I've been watching The Sea Devils recently.
I was watching The Sea Devils recently.
I'll tell you something. What's the matter with you?
Sorry.
I'll tell you something about The Sea Devils. I mean, that music is weird, but I think towards the end of it, I reckon Malcolm Clarke, the composer, was working on something else, because by the time he gets to the end, he's literally just going blink, 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 blink. He's lost the plot. The build-up is fantastic, but what do you think, Benji?
Well, it's long, isn't it? So he probably thought, bloody do some more now. It does get to a point. It probably wouldn't have been as easy to reuse stuff then.
No.
Who knows? I mean, it's all discordant, isn't it? Anyway,
and loud.
It is very loud, and dry.
Jamie, thank you for joining us for this commentary.
So I didn't really
rewarding experience?
It was great because I didn't really have to commentate on anything. I just watched it, which was rather nice. In fact, I was rather wishing you two would shut up. So
that was going to be my next question. Did you rather wish that we two shut up?
No, but I am going to rewatch it without the running commentary, because it's funny because when you've got to think of something to say, or when you're making analyses and then thinking, oh yes, that would be interesting, you're watching it in a very different way to when you watch it casually and passively. So actually, it's quite nice to watch it that way, I'd say.
What any standout points you'd like to make about it that we talked over you during?
No, not. I mean, you mentioned the Dalek shadows everywhere, and actually, there was the one that ends up getting decked by the Doctor in his little cassette tape case that he sticks on its head. That just before that happens, when it's moving along, there's a lovely bit of shadow of its the plunger and the gun arm that go across the kind of edge of a doorway, so it's stepped, and it looks really lovely. There's a few bits like that I really like visually, which is really nice, but it's kind of then let down by some of the really shoddy sets.
yeah.
But
it's because people were watching it in sort of on mostly fuzzy black and white sets in those days, and so you didn't see any of that stuff, did you?
Yeah, but it's interesting, and I know I'm biased here, but you compare that to the sets and model work you might see in UFO, for example, or Space 1999, and they hold up to HD really, really well. And this really doesn't hold up that well to SD.
No.
So it must have been a very, different budgets, different approach. But it's funny how stuff from the same era, some of it looks pristine and beautiful, and the rest of it looks like, painted lumps of MDF that aren't really glued together properly.
Well, the Jerry Anderson stuff was being made to movie standards, wasn't it?
Sorry, I'm eating popcorn again now.
Sorry, you have a mouthful of popcorn. I said something nice about your dad. Don't mention his dad, he just goes... Whereas Doctor Who was very much in that kind of made like a soap opera, you know?
True.
Made like every other bit of television drama apart from film stuff bought in. Yeah.
And not intended to be watched again.
Yeah.
I think as well.
Disposable TV.
Absolutely.
Which is why they disposed of it.
That's what clues in the name.
Didn't they though? I mean, they even disposed of one. Why did they dispose of one episode of this?
Strange.
I think they just didn't care, but we just thought, oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, that'll do.
Do you think it was the prevalence of Swarfega or that they thought we've got to get rid of that episode? There's too much of that gooey stuff in it.
It's just too slurpy, sloppy. No, I reckon it'll be just one of those things where literally somebody was carrying out a pile to the skip, and they thought, I could probably carry one more, and they just pull one off a pile and put it on top, and then wedged it under their chin, and they were like, yeah, that's as long as my arms are. I can't take any more. It'll be that random.
Yeah, they were taking Evil of the Daleks to the skip, and they thought, what's this? Oh, this is another of the Daleks. I'll just have that one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I can't believe I'm saying it. It's making me weep.
Right, so what, gentlemen, shall we do next week?
I have a suggestion, if I may.
Oh, really, Jamie?
Yes. I don't know if you're aware, but BritBox have launched or about to launch, in fact, the Jerry Anderson collection, which the name is a bit misleading because it's only 13 episodes of Jerry Anderson shows, but there's 10.
It's a collection, a small collection.
Yes, a Jerry Anderson collection-let. And there's 10 episodes of Thunderbirds and the pilots of Scarlet, Joe 90 and Stingray. So, any of those take your fancy?
Stingray.
We've not done a Stingray. Yeah, we should do Stingray.
I think you should do Stingray.
Let's do it.
What
we're going to talk about Stingray, the pilot episodes.
Yeah.
Like a pilot fish.
What episodes of Thunderbirds are going up, I wonder?
Well, Benji, I can give you a detailed report on that after they launch on the 7th of May, because right now nobody is letting us know. They've just said, 10 of the best episodes of Thunderbirds. Don't know what they are. Don't know who's picked them. So
probably the first 10. Yeah.
It may well be that arbitrary, yes. So I'm sure Trapped in the Sky will be on there, though, which is obviously one of the greats.
It's a classic, isn't it? I just had a really strange flashback just while talking about for some reason I just suddenly started thinking about the Thunderbirds Game Boy game.
Ooh, the Game Boy Color game.
Yes. Oh my god, I don't know what created that in my mind, but I was just remembering that and dropping people off and picking people up, flying around a desert.
What is a game, boy?
It was a rubbish game, wasn't it? I remember playing it a bit, but not being enthralled by it.
It was probably as good as you could get a game for Thunderbirds on the Game Boy, if that makes sense.
There's a lot of conditions to be met there.
You know, a strikingly wonderful visual series on a tiny little screen with a few little pixels and no real music is interesting.
Yeah, Game Boy music, goodness me.
It would just
pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I'm just having a look now. I'll send this Game Boy Color. I'll send a little picture of the levels, and you'll see exactly what I mean.
Yeah, because they tried to make like percussion out of distorted sounds on Game Boy, which just sounded awful.
There we go. Oh god, that's the one. Look at this.
That's what percussion is.
There we go.
Oh, just sent us a link to that. Oh my god. Well, that's definitely Thunderbird 1.
Yes. Wow. What an amazing game that was.
Sorry to change the entire discussion just in a split second there, but I had to mention it because it was in my head.
To do the Stingray the pilot episode, aren't we?
Yes,
is there any big difference between the pilot episode and the actual series?
Not really.
Okay, I loved Stingray. I'm sure I've seen it. I mean, they presumably broadcast it.
Yeah, they're just setting up the Troy Tempest's love rattery in that early first episode, I think. I can't really remember. It's a long time since I've watched it. But, yeah, I feel like Stingray is due a rewatch, so great time to be doing it.
And that'll be available from the 7th of May, so it'll be on in time for us to see it.
Yes, I believe so.
The next podcast.
Yeah.
Good. Well, at this point we should move close to the microphones, and I just want to remind you to send your emails to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com. We've had some lovely ones coming in, looking forward to some more. I'd just like to say it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me and my popcorn.
Pressing stop now. Ka-chung.